Behind me, I have the title of my speech, Slump or Bump. To be honest, I thought of this title at the very last minute because I wasn't really sure what would be the best title for my speech, but I finally have it. I guess that you kind of have the basic idea of my speech, but I still do have some questions that will kind of prefigure my speech. First, have you ever experienced a slump before? And if you did, how did you cope with your slump? I'll give you 10 seconds for you to think about it. Next question. Is there anything, any object that instantly comes to your mind when you hear the word life? For example, it could be a book, clothing, color, anything. But before you start thinking about it, I'd like to share my object first. Well, I think of this game that I personally very enjoy playing named the Rubik's Cube. Yes, when I hear the word life, what comes to my mind is a game. Rubik's Cube is a card-based game where you try to match cards by either numerical or colored order. However, it's not the rules of this game that I find connecting with life, but the other factors of it. Life is like a mixture of hardships, but also luck and fate, and such also appears in the game of Rubik's Cube. It is the hardships that draws into challenges and loss in the game. It is the luck that decides which cards you draw. And it is the fate that you have to follow when making your moves. While in life, you're open to the same half and half possibility of either accomplishing or failing. If you achieve your goal, in both Rubik's Cube and in life situations, you'll feel quite a sense of accomplishment. However, unlike in Rubik's Cube where if you fail, you can come up with a solution right away, but in life, it is beyond comparison of how much more time, effort, and emotional constraint is required to do so. We call this long recovery time the slump. Hi, hello, I'm Yunji Choi, and let me introduce you to the concept of slump. A lot of people misunderstand by thinking that slump is a period in life where you fall or where nothing turns out effective to you. However, let me tell you something. Actually, that's not it. Slump, as mentioned, is just a long recovery time. Recovery and failure are two different things. One allows us to improve and continue challenging ourselves, while the other refrains us from opening ourselves to more challenges, which may eventually lead us to success after all. Humans fail. No human in this world is perfect. However, while some learn from their failure, others continue failing. Those who succeed and learn from their failure have one thing in common. They develop a plan B. Now, developing a plan B or a new set of tactics requires recognizing the value of failure and each element visible in the scene. And such recognition eventually leads to the concept of cause and effect. I'll use the game of Rubik's Cube as an example again. If you weren't very lucky in drawing your card, you'll have to work your way through in developing your own strategy for victory. But if your fate wasn't bright enough to let you work on your tactic fluently, you have to work your way through in developing another set of tactics to continue challenging your opponent. But if you lost regardless of your effort, that doesn't make it your final attempt at winning. Now, what do you think? Was it you who refrained from achieving a goal, or was it the way that you responded that stopped you from achieving your goal? What's the difference, many of might ask? Well, it has to do with the mindset that makes things different. For example, if you realize that things are not working the way you did it in the past, and you decide that you stop doing whatever you're doing, all that you're doing is giving up. And what happens when you give up? While you stop working, others will work hard, study hard, and train hard. And eventually, they'll surpass your work and effort and will step closer to their goal while you're standing still in the same or lower position where you stopped at. This sounds pretty scary and stressful, but it is indeed true. When you stop working, you'll not improve. And after all, you might actually have to give up on your dream before you have got another chance to work on it. I know, it might sound pretty weird having a 16-year-old standing on stage, guiding your life and sounding like I'm teaching you. But trust me, as an experiencer, I have stories and tips to share with you. Well now, I'll use my life as a better example. It has been a challenge of being confident about myself when I became a 6th grader and an 8th grader. During 6th grade, I remember myself being overly self-conscious. At the time, everything that was happening in the middle school was new and fearful. However, it was more fearful seeing myself lacking assurance in everything. I always knew myself as a confident and energetic young girl who dreamed of becoming a teacher one day. I knew I wanted a change and a return of my real self, but I was really never able to. I was so insecure about my language, my ability, and my appearance. In this case, the cause is the new environment, and the effect is a lack of confidence. Now, following the 8th grade, over the summer break, I traveled to America. Yes, America. And yes, the time we were there wasn't COVID. After the break, I wanted to, brag about my experience, but actually, what happened is that I lost my confidence again. I'm just traumatic about 8th grade. I think I now have 8th grade phobia or something. I lost friends, got lower grades, and I lost enthusiasm in almost everything. Like I did in 6th grade, I knew I wanted a change and a return of my real self. As an 8th grader, however, I knew I had to be extra responsible and independent. I was aware that there wasn't any more time for me to be reliant on my surroundings and blame others for my deficiency of confidence. So I studied harder than I did, I made new friends, and I tried new hobbies. And as a result, though I wasn't able to regain my confidence entirely, I'll still be able to be happy no matter where and when. In this case, the cause is the lack of confidence, and the effect is the regain of happiness. Like so, the causes and effects from 6th grade and 8th grade each exemplify how facing the slumps in different ways result in different consequences. Another example is a very recent one. I love running. Seriously, I really do. Do you want to see me run? See, this is why I have been committed to Cross Country Academy since grade 2. However, this year, I wasn't able to train every sessions and go to every training sessions. So while I was still at the same level as I did last year, other runners were training hard and were getting ready for the competition. And as a result, at the competition, I lost. But now I know I should never have been disengaged due to any circumstances or changes. Now, what do you think again? Will you refrain from achieving a goal by avoiding the hardships? Or will you encounter the challenges and open yourself to a higher possibility of achieving your goal? In other words, will you blame slump, or will you bump into the slump? Remember, slump is a long recovery time. It is not a period in life where you fall or nothing turns out effective to you. Neither is it time for you to give up or become lazy. So, go face those challenges and reboost the talents you gave up on, and mostly, be nice to yourself. Thank you.